Very warm welcome to the program. Now, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has hit out at the National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Iyorchia Ayu, accusing him of only being interested in money. Wike claimed Ayu's desire was to manage the 14 billion naira raised during the primaries and says Ayu only became chairman with his help. Ayu has been under pressure from a group of governors led by Wike to step down and allow a southerner take his position.
As a party, as a chairman of a party who wants to win an election, your business is to bring peace to your party. Your business is not to divide your party. Your business is not to show arrogance to your party. The time said we are children. Yes, the children brought you to the chairman of the party. The children brought you from the gutter. The children brought you from the what? To make you chairman, it is the children. You were impeached as Senate President. You were sacked by Obasanjo in his administration 2 times. Arrogance cannot take you to anywhere. Now we are saying that you don't want the party to win an election. We will help you. These children you say we are. These boys we are. That brought you from nothing. Nothing. I said from nothing. We brought you. You say you founded this party. But you left the party. You left the party in 2007. You founded a company, you left the company. People stood and brought out the company to what it is today. You have no moral right to sit up and claim that you founded that party and that company. You left to their shares. Other shareholders have come in. Yes. I don't expect that people look. You want to show integrity. You want to show a party to Nigeria that we want to take over. You must convince Nigerians that we have integrity.
Well, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State there, and of course some of the language we've heard from him is not what is expected from Nigerian politicians ahead of the 2023 polls, but there's a lot of anger in the People's Democratic Party, and of course the use of gutter language is not being left out by some of these leaders in trying to express themselves as to how they feel. Well, to take a holistic look at the issues within the People's Democratic Party, which is Nigeria's main opposition, I have with me in the studio Mark Jacob, who is the former National Legal Advisor of the People's Democratic Party. And of course, we will be joined from our offsite studio by EMMANUEL UMEH, who's a political strategist. And of course, right here in the studio is PDP member Ariyo ATOYE, who is a Public Affairs Analyst also. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. And I start with you, Mark Jacob. I mean, some of the words used by Wike here are even very strong for me to use because in this political dispensation we found ourselves since 1999, the thinking is that our political system is supposed to be growing with every political season, but it looks like we're beginning to go back to where we started from in 1999 when politicians are reckless with statement and just say anything that they feel like saying despite the consequences on both the party and even within the polity. What do you have to say about what's going on within your party? I mean, you were the former National Legal Advisor of this party, and if you were still in power, what would you be saying to some of these leaders who have thrown everything to the wind?
Well, first of all, I must confess that I'm not a happy person. After listening to the brickbats from respected personalities and supposed leaders of our party. First of all, one must admit that the comment or the words that came from the national chairman are terribly uncharitable, they are unnecessary, and he, being the national chairman, ought to set the example for others to follow. There is no way you can stand up and climb a big horse and begin to talk down on people who, whether you like it or not, are members of the family. As a father, you have an obligation to bring everybody together and make sure that there is cohesion and there is peace. So first of all, he set the wrong example. And his words actually went very contrary to the posture provided or put forward by the candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar, when he said that all commentaries and discussions or anything to do with the governor of Rivers State and his team should be left to him. And for me, I was excited when I heard that, and I felt relieved that perhaps when we wake up, we'll find a silver lining in the sky concerning this issue. And for us to wake up and find the national chairman throwing big brickbats as though he was just one minion in the party is most unacceptable. And I think if he wants to help this party, he should either retreat or apologize to Nigerians. Because like you said, this party no longer belongs to just the political party members. It belongs to Nigerians. And I can say very clearly that many Nigerians, I was at a function yesterday where we were meeting with professional colleagues, and most of them who are not card-carrying members of the party are very unhappy with the posture or with the issues concerning the PDP. And they wish that we have been able to scale over this by now. So a lot of Nigerians who wish Nigeria well, having assessed what the ruling party has done to this country, driving it to the brink of total collapse, turning Nigeria to the headquarters of poverty, and making Nigeria ungovernable, making security an issue. You wake up not knowing whether you reach it. Now, Nigerians were waiting, and they are still waiting, for the PDP to provide an avenue for them to vent their anger. Nigerians are disappointed, and I'm particularly disappointed.
All right, and I bring you in, Ariyo. I just want to quote exactly what the national chairman Iyorchia had said, which is making Wike to be angry, and of course, which the former national legal advisor has reacted to here. This is the exact words that he had said. I know I'm doing my work and I didn't steal any money, so I see no reason for all these talks. When we started PDP, these children were not around. They are children who do not know why we formed the party. We will not allow any individual to destabilize our party. These words have not been received well by Nyesom Wike, and of course you must have heard everything Wike threw back at Ayu. What's your view on all of this?
Well, thank you, Somna. I think it's important for the PDP to go back to the drawing board and probably reassess themselves. At this point, I think in 2013, 2014, I was a member of the civil society that engaged the then APC when at the formative stage. And what we did was that the one thing APC did well then was that they embraced the media, civil society, asked for our contributions, and I participated. In fact, I was endeared and lured into probably joining the APC, but it wasn't attractive to me because at that point in time, a senior lawyer told me that the candidate of the party was going to be General Buhari. And I have to say this with every sense of responsibility. And I said, okay, we have done our best to contribute as civil society. Now, fast forward, PDP wants to take over from power from the APC. You have not seen any engagement with the civil society. You have not seen any concrete engagement with the media. When it comes to even the intra-party issue, they've not been able to address that, and this is very sad. Now to the Ayu issue. You have to look at it in phases. And I think this should help people to conclude whether Iyorchia Ayu is even interested in the victory of Atiku Abubakar and the PDP or not. Number one, the most fundamental sacrifice that has been made in this process was made by Governor Tambuwal. Governor Tambuwal conceded to the Atiku's camp, which was a very big sacrifice. Tambuwal was one of the three that could have won the primaries, you know, the way it was, and but I think people prevail on him, and I think he listened, and he decided to make that sacrifice. Yeah. Even Iyorchia Ayu himself, that's the national chairman of the PDP, considered that it was a heroic concession, even though the way and manner he put that didn't also go down well.
That's where his problem
actually
started,
but
yeah, he looked partisan by making that comment, even when the event was...
But I'm looking at it from a different perspective, because if he had acknowledged that it was heroic, it means that sacrifice was made. Now, when you look at the downfall of the PDP in 2015 and in 2019, you realize that a zone was missing, which started from the Jonathan's administration, which was the Southwest. I think that even Governor Wike made the same mistake in 2018 when he supported Secondus, as the national chairman of the party instead of the Southwest. Now going to 2023. Now the Southwest is not in play for 2023, and there arose an opportunity.
That's within the party.
Yeah, within the party.
Politics of the PDP.
Yes, within the politics of the PDP. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So there arose an opportunity for them to make amend. Having given the ticket to the northern candidate, somebody from the northern extraction, and that's Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Now, it was a very good opportunity. Do you know, Sambo, that I thought that it was going to be a seamless arrangement in terms of immediately after Atiku emerged, that ordinarily they will make an arrangement almost immediately and give the chairman to the South and look at other opportunities, including this issue of one time. I was one of the people that first tweeted that I don't think the PDP has the grace of, when Atiku emerged, that I think Atiku has always talked about one time. I think that was going to be a very easy, run for him to be able to make such a statement. Now, why I'm saying this, Samna, is that when you look at the position, you realize that it's a situation that's badly managed. Now, look at all the energies that should have been used by this party in order to come at the opposition, and they are channeling this energy intra-party.
I have to bring...
I'm sorry. Yeah, let me just conclude here.
I'll bring Emmanuel in.
I don't think it's going to be politically right for them to go into the elections and you say the North will retain the candidate, the North will retain the national chairman, and a zone like the Southwest is left with nothing. So you say they should go and do what in local parlance they will say are pharmacopolitics. That's for people to just labor hard, and so that you now come and benefit from it. No. If Chairman Ayu, is really interested in a position that he said is ready to relinquish immediately if Atiku is declared winner, why can't he relinquish such a position in the interest of his own party?
All right, and I want to state very clearly from what we have said, because we at Arise News here had interviewed Iyorchia Ayu at the beginning of his election, so to say. We had an interview with him where he cleared those issues, and one of the things that he stated is that if someone comes from the North Central, he was going to step down, because a lot of people are confusing this. We still have that clip where he had stated it clearly that if someone comes from the same geopolitical zone, remember there was this issue about whether Bukola Saraki should contest or not, because someone was going to emerge as national chairman from the North Central. So, and that issue has been raised over and over. But I want you to clarify, Emmanuel Umeh, since you're a PDP insider, on why this issue is lingering, and is it time for Ayu to go?
For inviting me. First, I would call for caution as a member of the party, as a young member of the party. I think if you gauge the mood and the minds of young people, especially party members, we're not happy. And we respect the national chairman, we respect the governor of Rivers State, Governor Wike. These are people that have, made so much sacrifice for the party. If you look at what Governor Wike have done for the party in the last 7 years, I don't think there's anybody that will come here and say that he hasn't done well, as a party man, in terms of sacrificing for the party, showing leadership for the party. I think he has done very well. If you look at the national chairman, as a founding member of this party, has tried. He has also showed leadership. So at this point, I think what we will be looking for is not to blame, and try to blame anyone. We want to call for peace, because we are facing serious issues in this country. the insecurity in this country is so high. If you look at the economy, a meltdown in the country is something that nobody is happy about. So at this point, I believe that as a party, we should, refocus the direction and, channel this energy on what we intend to do for the party and for Nigerians at large. As to your question, whether the national chairman should step down or not, for me, basically, we are preparing for elections, especially campaigns will start in less than 3 weeks. The question here is, how visible is it for a national chairman to step down in less than 3 weeks, and you're able to get a national chairman or a national working committee? By the way, if you look at what the party constitution states, if the national chairman resigns today, the next in line is the vice chairman from his zone. So he's still going to go to the north, and especially the vice chairman is from the northeast. So it simply means that the national chairman and the vice chairman, are from the north, and the vice chairman automatically becomes chairman. It simply means that the vice chairman and the presidential candidates are going to be coming from the northeast. So if you look at it, it simply means that you're going to probably tell the whole NWC to resign, because there's no way you tell the national chairman to resign and it won't affect other offices. The national secretary will automatically resign because you will not have the national chairman from the south and the national secretary from the south. And you have 3 weeks before campaign starts. The APC have formed their campaign council. For me, at this point in time, I believe that we should find a way of reconciling both factions. Immediately after the election, I believe that we're going to win the election. It doesn't cost anything for, the National Working Committee to resign. We have less than 3 weeks. And, I listened to my brother saying about the Southwest. You can only share what you have. As it is today, we are not in government. We don't even have power. So you can only share when you have power. So for me, I believe that, this internal fighting and all this that is going on is not, it doesn't augur well for the party, And like I said, as a young person, we want the party to be cohesive, united, strong, and, we'll come together and be able to, win the election, and then, grow back what we have promised Nigerians, give back to Nigerians what we've told them that we're going to do, and then, redirect this country. Because as it is today, it doesn't make any sense, of which you remove the national chairman today, you have less than how many weeks. So after the national election, you now change the national chairman again. For me, it's just, that's my own personal opinion. And I feel that we can change the national chairman and the national working committee immediately after the election, especially when we have won election. And then, I wouldn't see any issue with it. I think at this point, it's just an issue of trust. And if we have leaders, and I know we have leaders in the party, that can bring these warring factions together. For me, like I said, it's a contestation of power. Ayu feels slighted, Governor Wike feels slighted, and I think there's a big lesson for everyone here that, moving on, probably when we are going to have the next, if by the grace of God, when we win the election, and we would intend to have the next National Working Committee, the convention or a mini convention, that, the party should be allowed to pick leaders that can go across the country, canvass for votes, talk to party members, tell them why they want to contest. Because obviously what we are seeing here right now is because Governor Wike feels slighted that he was part of the people that brought, the national chairman to power. And because of that, he feels that the national chairman owes him certain gratitudes. So I feel personally that if we get, National Working Committee or, moving forward, that truly are people that, have gone around the country, meet with party members, sell their ideas, why they want to, hold national positions. And decide to,
sorry, I just have to interject here, Emmanuel. I just want you to react to that statement by Governor Nyesom Wike that Ayu is just eyeing the 14 billion naira that was raised during the primaries. I mean, what do you make of that?
I personally feel that Governor Wike was angry when he made that statement. I do not believe I have interacted with him, with the national chairman. I have listened to him when he spoke about, the plans that he has made and what they have done, I do not believe that, the national chairman would want to embezzle 14 billion. I would just want to say that the national Governor Wike was provoked, he was angry, and I guess that was why he made those statements. I would not want to take, that statement out of provocation and take it as a statement of fact.
Jacob, let's talk about that issue. 14 billion naira was raised. I know that during the Ekiti and Osun elections, the national chairman, unlike previous times when they would have to go, cap in hand, begging governors to fund elections in states, this time around, he decided to remove monies from the sales of forms and all of that and fund Ekiti, fund Osun governorship candidates. And of course, they were lucky with Osun State, where they eventually won there. And as a result of that, he is trying to remove the party from the hands of governors. Isn't this part of the reason why Governor Nyesom Wike is angry that Iyorchia Ayu is not coming to beg him for money to be able to sponsor candidates in the 2023 polls? And you can hear Wike too saying that everybody should go and deliver his or her own state.
Well, first of all, the truth remains that mistakes have been made. And I was part of meetings where people made promises or decisions were taken. I will step down if so and so happens, knowing very well that they didn't mean such promises. There was no way you would say that someone who is elected under the Constitution gives you a mandate for a particular term, and then you voluntarily say you would relinquish it based on the election of another person. It is practically not workable, and as we have seen, when gentlemen refuse to honor their word, crisis blows up. There is no doubt people heard the national chairman when he said he will resign if a southern candidate emerges as the flag bearer of the party. And
northern candidates,
yes,
actually.
The zoning in PDP has never been north central, or it's always north versus south.
Yeah, because you are a former national legal advisor. I wanted you to clear that issue.
Yes,
what exactly is the norm? Can it be that if someone emerges from your own geopolitical zone, that's the only time you can resign? Because Atiku also cleared that by saying that, look, that can only happen if the PDP presidential candidate wins the election. Then the national chairman, Ayu, can resign because he's from the same area as Nigeria shared between north and south. But if that's not the case and the PDP hasn't won the election at the moment, what if Ayu resigns now and Atiku doesn't win the election?
Yes. Those are things that ought to be discussed in-house. And I've said it over and over. The taking of this matter, placing it on the public domain, where national figures begin to exchange brickbats, is most unfortunate and should not have arisen. Discussions in the PDP ought to take place under seclusion, where all these parties, all these personalities that we so much respect, should be honorable enough to call themselves into a room and talk about these issues and resolve them without embarrassing all of us. And look, even if promises were made and it is now looking impossible to comply, there is nothing that stops the national chairman convening an urgent caucus meeting where all these personalities, governors, are automatic members. The candidate is an automatic person, a member of that caucus. And then they sit down and insist that they must resolve the issue before anybody goes home. And it can be done in a day. But what we have seen is that interested persons, some who want to be ministers, some who want to be seen as the pullers and the shakers of the system, are talking from all sides of the country. And it doesn't help the system. It doesn't portray the PDP as being serious about winning an election.
Where are the PDP elders in all of this? I mean, don't you have a board of trustees? Why is it looking like the board of trustees it shouldn't be a trustworthy institution? Because it looks like from what we are seeing Wike saying every now and then, it looks like maybe the board of trustees is tilted towards a particular person, and as such, they've lost their credibility. Is that the reality?
Well, the truth also is that the structures of the party most of the time get hijacked by persons who are ready to fund or finance them. And that is a terrible thing. You mentioned the fact that the party chairman national chairman for the first time, was able to bring out funds to contribute to the funding of the elections in, is it Ondo or
Osun and Ekiti State.
Fine. Now, if the party is strong enough to have funds that it can deploy without relying on people, individuals, there will be a lot of sanity. But the situation where if there will be a board meeting, somebody has to bring the money for refreshment and transportation. If there will be a next meeting, somebody has to do this and that. And you find out that gradually, unfortunately, so many things have been messed up, and the powers of structures have been taken over by individuals. And that is the bane, and that is the damage that has been done. Now, let me just say this, that, of course, in Governor Wike's case, he has a right to be angry. He has a right to feel sad. But again, you cannot discountenance the interests of Nigerians and then the larger members of the party to say you break the pot and throw away everything. It's not gentlemanly. This is not what he promised when he was contesting, when he said he will support anybody who wins the primaries. And some of us heard him, and we embraced him and felt very happy that we have a candidate that has a large heart that will be willing to support whoever wins the primaries. For me, this is not what he promised. And he should come back home and cure the disease. There is a time you must also surrender. Not that you surrender and be seen as a defeated person, no. But you are saying you are fighting for the South. How many southern governors, for instance, how many of them are with him?
Okay.
So if they are not with him, there is a time you say, okay, look, this thing, I have done my part. I have raised the bar. I have raised the consciousness of people to reason and see that the South has been shortchanged. You reach a certain state and say,
I'm afraid I have to cut in right now because we have to go on a short break. And of course, your statement here seems to be like Wike has become the bull in the china shop, trying to break down everything right there because of anger. Well, it's time for us to see how the elders of the party can help to manage his anger so that the entire party doesn't go down. I guess that's what you're saying, but we have to go on this short break. And when we come back, this time around, we'll be talking about the chances of the PDP and indeed if Atiku is a unifier like he claims to be in the People's Democratic Party, and of course the chances of the party in the 2023 polls. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Somna Sambo, and of course we still have in the studio with us Mark Jacob, who's a former National Legal Advisor of the People's Democratic Party. And of course we have Emmanuel UMEH, who's a political strategist and a PDP member, and Ariyo ATOYE, who's a Public Affairs Analyst. And of course we're still discussing the issues of the People's Democratic Party and its national chairman, its presidential candidate, and of course the aggrieved governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. And I come to you, Ariyo. In all of this, Atiku's credentials as a unifier is being questioned. If he's unable to unify his party members, is it Nigerians that he will come to unify? And then on the other hand, you look at Nyesom Wike saying all of these things about Iyorchia Ayu, yet Wike boasted, and he was dancing everywhere, that he was instrumental to bringing Iyorchia Ayu to power. So if Wike knew that Iyorchia Ayu had these shortcomings, why did he ensure that Iyorchia Ayu was foisted on the party without anyone being allowed to contest fully against him at the convention ground?
Well, like you said, Somna, I think this process is actually questioning, like you said, the unifier credential of Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
Former Vice President.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And it's important that I think he does something unique at this period in time for him to be able to rescue his own party. Somna, if you look at the numbers, PDP is not an advantage at all. You have 13 governors plus one in waiting that is coming from Osun. About 4 or 5 of them are in disputes because of the position they are holding today based on what they assume as imbalance on the party. And you see, my own worry is this. Like I said, what they are currently discussing now, I thought it was going to be an easy thing, and I'm not lying about it. I thought that the issue of national chairmanship, that it would have been a settled issue immediately Atiku emerged, because it was so obvious then to all Nigerians that the moment a candidate from the north emerges, from the primaries that they would definitely zone the chairman or take the chairman to the southern part of the country. But now it has become a serious issue. People had also thought freely that the moment it's Vice President Atiku Abubakar, that he is in a good position to be able to promise a one-time. Now, why all of this is that they are not looking at the OB phenomenon, that is not just eating into the vote of the PDP, but also making a significant gains around the country. And they can't take that away. And I believe that we're going to talk about Peter Obi on another day. But in terms of the strictly PDP, I don't think they are appreciating the worth of being in opposition and learning from their own mistake. Because don't forget that I have not seen a party winning election at the national level without you positioning your party in such a way that is acceptable to every zone of the country. You can't have your candidate as your candidate from the north, your national chairman from the north, your BOT from the north, and all of that. And you say they should go into the election and deliver before they come and talk about, you know, what do you call it? Rearranging the party. So the question is this. The only thing that is creating this problem is that the people who are unwilling today, you know, to give in to this is because they are afraid. They are not even sure if Atiku can win. If, for instance, Chairman Ayu believes that Atiku Abubakar can win this election, he will have resigned.
But isn't it difficult for the national chairman to resign at this time? Would you politically think that, you know, Ayu's resignation will not affect the chances of the party, considering what he has done? Shouldn't the BOT chairman be thinking of resigning since his own position is not so much strong?
You need, for instance, you need some of those positions. Why the PDP is in a precarious situation? You need some of those positions, for instance, to balance your lack of presence in some certain zones of the country. For instance, if, for instance, you need someone like maybe Governor Tambuwal to be the DG campaign, which a lot of people believe. Now, you can't have that if, for instance, the national chairman is still from the north. But you need somebody in the northwest, because the PDP is not in the northwest. Now, you need a DG campaign, somebody very strong, since you can't get a national chairman from the northwest. So how do you rearrange that? Now, are you going to now say the national chairman of your party will come from the north, the DG campaign will come from the north, and you said your party members in the south should go and, you know, work for the victory of your party? It doesn't. I don't think they are looking at their numbers. Okay. What is the best for them? For instance, as some people have suggested, is that you have an opportunity, 2 key positions, DG campaign, national chairman of the party, and all of that. These are positions that you can rearrange. National chairman, maybe southwest, DG campaign. They can't. I think it should be north central. Northwest, because that's the area where you have the highest number of probably APC dominance, and you need to challenge the APC if you are sure about winning this election. And a party that has 14 governors and it's in crisis, I don't think that party is a non-starter towards 2023, and PDP should understand that they are a non-starter yet, because you are still going to do 3 phases of negotiation, intra-party negotiation. You still have to come to the parties in opposition like Labour and try to entice Labour with one term. Maybe they can work together. Then before you talked about negotiating with...
Well, I guess the obedient people would want to hear that.
No. You see, the thing, Sumner, let me also just say this in summary.
Okay.
You see, it's important for all the parties in opposition to work together. Look at what APC did ahead of 2015. If they go, I will tell them, this is what I will tell them, including the Labour Party, PDP, is that do your numbers. Get an independent opinion survey. If you know you have the number individually to go at it, fine. If it is Labour that can win, if it is PDP. But if you don't have that number, I don't think you should.
Okay, I can see even Emmanuel laughing about this, because I mean, it's been a continuous conversation, online here and there, that it looks like the PDP has been divided into 4 right now. We have the Atiku wing, which is supposed to be the general wing of the PDP, and then of course you have the Wike wing, and of course you have 2 breakaway faction, the Peter Obi domiciled in the Labour Party, and then of course the Rabiu Musa Kwankwanso domiciled in NMPP. So tell me, just like I asked Ariyo earlier, does it look like Atiku is still a unifier when he is unable to unify within the party or build an alliances with some of these other political parties to be able to get a very strong shot at the APC?
Sambo, thank you very much for the question. First, is Atiku a unifier? Yes, he is still the unifier. That people are contesting for power, it doesn't negate the fact that Atiku is still, you know, the unifier. I like what my brother was saying. He was talking about numbers. If you look at, if we even do the numbers, in the last election, the PDP had about 11 million. And 5 million and some hundreds of thousands of that vote came from the north. The remaining 5 million of the came from the south, even though the south had more votes than the north. So let's even assume today that with the P2B phenomenon that is coming up, especially in the southeast, that PDP decides, you know, loses say 2 million or 2-point-something million votes. We'll make it up in the north. You know, people keep forgetting that in this election you have, if you want to say 4, you know, parties contesting for it. The NMPP, the Labour Party, APC, and the PDP. What the PDP have that is going for it is that it is a national party. If you look at the candidate is someone that is experienced. He has contested elections twice as a vice president, and then two times. Then this will make it the third time that he'll be contesting as a presidential candidate of a party. He has the experience. He's popular. He has the structure. I'm sure you've seen what is happening in Katsina, in Kebbi, in Sokoto, in Gombe, in Kano. And it's funny that anybody would think that PDP will not get a lot of votes from this zone or this part of the country. Looking at that, the president is not going to contest for the election. So if you break it down, Atiku is still a formidable and a strong force in the country, and especially in the north, as it is today. So I'm not denying the fact that we need to work in terms of, you know, being cohesive, but it doesn't take away the fact that Atiku is still a very, very, very strong candidate. And besides, this is politics. There's nothing, 24 hours is such a big time. Nobody have said that Atiku and Wike will not even meet and probably even resolve these issues. So as of today, Atiku is still the unifier. The problem here is between the national chairman and Governor Wike, and it's a contestation of power. You know, so I don't see any big issue. It is something.
Okay.
Even the candidate has come out to say that allow me and Governor Wike to handle these issues privately. So I believe that they will handle it. The national chairman, the candidate and Governor Wike will meet and they will resolve these issues.
Oh, okay. And Mark Jacob, I just want to ask you that question. It's a very, very important question. The PDP in 2015 or in 2019 would have looked very, very united and different from the PDP that we have today. Look at Atiku and all his group within the PDP and all of that, and then look at Wike and his group, and then look at these two breakaway groups from this same PDP. Peter Obi, who was his vice presidential candidate in 2019, and then look at Musa Rabiu Kwankwanso, who used to be in the party. Now, all of this, if the PDP had all of these people in the kitty without any rumble, it would still have been a big challenge for the party to confront the APC. And now it's having all of this. Isn't it going to affect the party's chances, considering especially Peter Obi and his supporters that are going everywhere and telling everyone that, look, they are out to push away these legacy parties this time around?
First of all, I also don't want to discountenance the effect of the Peter Obi issue and Kwankwaso, but again, the campaigns have not started. Truly, most of the things we are seeing are the creations of fanfare. Nigeria is a very hungry country now. If you bring out a van with music, and you are giving people water, soft drinks, some food to eat, you can get 10,000 people within this wuse, and they will follow you. Tomorrow you bring another van with a different picture. The same people will come and follow you because there is hunger in the land.
so
nobody
a lot of are you trying to say that most of the people who are supporting either NMPP or yes, Labour Party are based on this?
No,
well, how about PDP or APC?
I'm saying that even the people that are coming out in Sokoto and other places, some of them are not actually committed to anything because they are looking for where they will get a free meal.
So we have to be probing some of these crowds when we see them.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
And we have seen where people have done a lot of photoshopping. Like when somebody went to Nasarawa, it turned out that the pictures were from Kenya in the campaign rally of a presidential candidate. So for me, while we are not discountenancing the effect of other political parties, the PDP has a structure that you can only discountenance at your own peril. You go to the villages, you find people who are members. You go to the interior. And I've asked a few of my friends that are campaigning for some candidates in this Abuja. And I say, on election day, will you go to your village? They say, no. Me, I can't go. But the PDP has, over the years, been able to deploy to every polling unit. And in my village, every polling unit will have 2 agents of the PDP, which other parties are unable to match. And this is what we talk about when we say structure. Now, I wish that this distraction will go away so that in 3 weeks' time, we will face the business of campaigns. The issues now being talked about, I have said it and I will repeat it. These are issues that should be left to the candidate of the party. He should, in fact, summon a meeting. If the national chairman is not interested in calling such a meeting, he should, in fact, and urgently too, convene such a meeting and insist that they resolve these issues. It is doable. We have done it in the past, and it can be done quickly.
Well, Ariyo, just before I bring you in, let me just go back to that same question that I put earlier to Ariyo on Wike. I want you, Mark Jacob, to help us understand that issue. This same Wike that's kicking Ayu left, right, and center was the one who ensured that himself and Governor Samuel Otom, brought Ayu in place to ensure that he's made the only candidate of the PDP in the National Convention. And yet, so Wike knew all of this, and he pushed Ayu to the center to become the national chairman. Shouldn't we be blaming Wike or questioning his morality in this instance for pushing someone that he knew had the same flaws that he's complaining about?
On the contrary, I have read and I've seen Wike as a passionate party man who takes decisions and is bold about them. And that is what is lacking in this country, that people will take decisions or support positions, but when it gets hot, they back out. Wike doesn't back out. Wike stands for whatever he supports. And for me, I admire that. Now, he supported Ayu, and there were extracted commitments. Who should be blamed now if those people who made promises now want to cite the law or the constitution to say, the constitution gives me a 4-year term, I cannot resign? We have had resignations in the past. We have had replacements of chairmen in the past. It has been done in this party, and the heavens didn't fall. So it is actually a two-way thing. You can blame Wike for being very forthright. You can blame him for being very, very specific when it comes to supporting the party in any adventure. Okay. You can blame him for being very fanatical about his position. But you must also blame those who took decisions or who made promises, and today they find those promises unpalatable to fulfill, and they should be questioned. Their integrity is also on the line. If you knew that the constitution does not allow you or will not allow you to resign, why did you make the promise? Okay. And for me, that is terrible, and it should not be condoned by anybody. Yeah,
Ariyo, you wanted to chip in something?
I just want to say, I think when you look at politics, I know Harold Laswell defines politics as who gets what, where, and how, and so for me, I don't begrudge people who are trying to make extract commitments or negotiate interest. In fact, the parliamentary system of government used to be the best in terms of negotiating interest. So going forward, at least from what we've seen of the Buhari's administration, someone like me will be proposing something like a negotiated presidential system where people, every zone must put what they are interested in on the table before they give you their own vote. And I think that's the way forward, because what we saw that the Buhari administration did, and that's part of the thing that is propelling what is happening in PDP today. PDP members cannot, in the social media and all of that, criticize the Muslim ticket of the APC. And now you are having a northern chairman, northern chairman of the party, and you say they should not criticize you and that they should leave it till after election. You see, some certain things are not just workable. So it's a matter of whether the PDP wants to win or they do not want to win. If you want to win...
So what would you advise now, Ariyo, on the issue of the composition of the Presidential Campaign Council? Because the presidential candidate himself, Atiku Abubakar, seems handicapped. I mean, I know that they've been working on announcing a DG for over 2 weeks now, but they keep shifting it because of this reconciliation, and that hasn't happened. What should be the way forward?
They are not handicapped. Governor Tambuwal made the most sacrifice in this process, conceding to Vice President Atiku, helping him to have the ticket. It shouldn't be too difficult for them to rearrange the arrangement that will make them to win. For instance, it is in their interest. If, for instance, they are able to balance power, for instance, like in the position of the national chairman to the southwest, Tambuwal, who made that sacrifice, a very popular person in the northwest, maybe DG campaign and all of that. And then the southeast, for instance, look at another blunder, what I would have considered a blunder. You made an appointment of spokespersons, and the 2 spokespersons are from the north. What about southeast? Because you see, the spokespersons here give the party some semblance of presence. Why not one of them be in the southeast? And I think they are not being, and PDP used to be the party that has this mindset of an inclusive arrangement. Now, suddenly, you are not looking at inclusion, and you are not saying that it is because we are arm twisted. The same party that introduced doctrine of necessity to be able to address issues. Now they cannot introduce doctrine of necessity to rescue themselves because there is lack of inclusion in the leadership composition of the party. You are not ready to do that, and you want other zone to just go and work. You believe that you get vote in the southeast, you get vote in the southwest. And let me now end it on this. There is this delusion that is going on in both camps. For instance, they believe that because Atiku is north, Tinubu is south, that Atiku is likely to get more votes in the north because of sentiment and all of that. They've forgotten that the APC governors in the north fielded people for governorship, House of Rep, Senate, and all of that. So do you think they are going to lose all of those things so that your party can come and win? You have to work with Nigerians. You have to negotiate properly and do the necessary thing, including bringing the opposition parties together. It's not going to be an easy thing for them, and I don't think this...
All right, we must thank you indeed, Ariyo. You have the last shot here, Emmanuel Umeh. Let's talk about the problem that Ariyo has pointed out. Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate, appointed 2 spokespersons, and they are all from the north, 2 Christians. He has said that the southeast was left out in some of these appointments. No DG campaign at the moment. The Presidential Campaign Council is yet to be composed fully. What is the way forward? Isn't the PDP shooting itself on the foot? And don't you think it looks like PDP may just be on the losing path, considering all these distractions and problems?
The same candidate made 3 appointments, essays on new media, 2 from the south, 1 from the north. I think there are still more appointments that is going to be made. The campaign council is not yet set up. So once the campaign council is set up, some of these issues will be trashed out, you know. As to whether we have issues, you know, like I've said it before now, I believe that both Governor Wike, the presidential candidate who is Atiku, and even the national chairman can sit down and trash these issues. We have leaders in the party, and I believe that probably in the coming days there will be a meeting and, you know, trash some of these issues out. I don't see some of these things as unsurmountable. I believe that, you know, these are things that can be really easily resolved, you know.
Okay, well, that was just very brief. So before I go, Mark Jacob, do you think that if Ayu resigns, that can bring a lot of sanity to the PDP at the moment? Do you think if he takes that decision to resign, that can assuage the feelings of several members?
Absolutely, it will. And it should not be seen as a movement in weakness, but it should be seen as a contribution to the growth and the success of the party. It can happen. But like you have heard him say, he has a 4-year tenure, and he doesn't imagine that he would relinquish that. But you see, will you be happy to be chairman without a president? And these are the things staring us in the face.
And Wike says that it looks like he wants to lead PDP into losing the election. That's why he's insisting.
That is what it looks like. Of course, like someone has pointed out, The Constitution makes it impossible for you to just remove the chairman and then bring a southerner to take over. But then, like we have done in the past, when a situation arises, people sacrifice so that there can be solutions and there can be success in the long run. The party chairman can take that bold step and say,
what if it is the
resign.
BOT chairman that resigns? Because
Of course.
because Ayu refuses to resign. Can that also assuage the feelings of people?
I don't think so, because the BOT is an advisory body. In fact, it's not supposed to be seen. It comes into play only when issues like this arise. They are supposed to be the people that will call all of these people, all of these contending parties together to sit down and talk in-house.
Okay.
But honestly, the BOT is weak. The BOT is weak.
Well, the allegations have always been that Atiku Abubakar has pocketed the BOT of the party.
Are you sure it's not Wike?
Well, at some point we heard it was Wike, then later on we heard it was Atiku. Well, no. We can only wish the PDP well as it tries to settle its issues. But of course, when campaigns begin, it's going to be tough for the main opposition, because this time around, some other political parties want to push PDP from number 2 at the moment to number 3. It's left for the party to see whether it's prepared to be at number 1 or even retain number 2. We must thank you so much. Mark Jacob is a former national legal advisor of the People's Democratic Party. We must thank you immensely for being on the show. And of course, we've had Ariyo ATOYE, who is a public affairs analyst. And of course, EMMANUEL UMEH is a member of the People's Democratic Party and a political strategist too. We must thank you for being on the program. That's how it's been on this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again next week. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Sambo.